Hello, everyone. I hope y'all are having a great day. This will be part 7 to my life. I left off with y'all where I had met my stepdad, my feelings towards him at that time. So I'm just going to pick right up where we left off. He had a dog. It was a German Shepherd named Casey. And this dog was literally my savior for a while until he had to put him down. And the reasons behind him being put down and stuff, it brought a lot of anger because I felt like it wasn't exactly fair. Sorry, thought somebody was here. But one day, this is a few examples. Is one day, my grandmother, she was, you could kind of tell she was getting a little like in one of her moods to where she was about to get really angry. And Casey came over and sat beside me, and I was sitting at this little table in a chair, and he came over and made sure he was, I guess, my protector. Whenever she came towards me, she had started yelling and screaming. I'm not even sure what she was mad about. He She reached down and just started smacking my leg for no reason. Just, it was pretty hard. Like, if she was going to smack you, it wasn't one time, it wasn't two times. Like, she would do it like 10 to 20 times. So Casey reached up and snapped at her. And we were watching the dog at the time. Mark had left and he was going to be out of town for a few days. I think he was like in Illinois or somewhere. So we were watching his dog, or he asked if we wouldn't mind. So whenever that happened, Casey became my best friend. There was another time a little boy was, my grandmother kept children. So there was a little boy and he had grabbed my bicycle and wouldn't give it back. And whenever my grandmother kept children, it was my job to help her with the children. I couldn't just go play all day with the other older kids. I had to sit there and help her with all the babies, change the diapers, get them ready to eat. You know, I'm it's kind of sucky whenever you're a kid and there's other kids around you and all of them get to play but you. But it did help me a lot because I understood, before I ever had children, what needs to be done, how you take care of them. I wasn't totally blind like a lot of parents are, so I am thankful for it. I didn't have to Google how to take care of my baby because I had already taken care of so many other people's babies. So, but she had just told me since the kids were laying down for a nap that I could go play. So I was like, yay. So I went to go get my bicycle, and there was a little boy that kind of liked me. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought he didn't like me because he was constantly picking on me. And he grabbed my bicycle and he took off with it, and he took off close to Casey. And I went running after him, telling him, give me back my bike, give me back my bike. And then Casey, I guess, he could sense what was going on with me. So he grabbed the little boy's ankle and pulled him off the bike. After I was able to get the bike, he let go of him. And I was just like, wow, thanks, Casey, but. And then another time, this is what really, the little boy, him grabbing his ankle and pulling him off the bike, even though, I felt like he was doing it for me. And he didn't hurt him, but, that's any dog that's going to do that, people are a little feel fearful of. But then one time, my uncle, um, he had pulled up in the yard, and I'm guessing he was angry about something because he slammed the door to his truck, and the way he was walking up, he was like stomping back and forth, just he looked angry. And I was sitting on the porch and I had a couple of the little kids out there, and whenever he got close to us, Casey jumped and his paws went here and he reached for his throat. After that, my uncle didn't like my stepdad, or my soon to be stepdad. He didn't like him, didn't want the dog around anyone, said that the dog needed to be put down, and just kept on about this until my stepdad just put him down. That made me hate my uncle. with a passion because that was the only little bit of hope that I had in this world at that time. Um, if it wasn't so much for the dog, I probably wouldn't have opened up as much as I did to my stepdad. I was still pretty closed. It took me till I was like 16 years old, 15, 16, easy, before I ever started to trust him as a person, just as a person, not as a stepdad, not as a dad, just as a person. So it was sad that I didn't have Casey anymore to help protect me. And it's sad that I felt more comfort with a dog than I did with my own family or with another human being. But human beings have done, I mean, animals do bad things, but most of the time you can figure out their motive. With people, it was, especially during that time in my life, it was very hard to tell what anybody's motive was. I just felt like they were out for me. So my brother, he immediately loved Mark. He wanted him to be his dad. He was already calling him dad. It wasn't even anything that had been confirmed to me that him and my mom were even dating. I was just told that that was her friend. And he ended up meeting us after she went to prison. So he didn't really understand the depth of her story. She just had gotten back into church and had met him. And it turned out that he had been friends with one of my cousins. So a lot of my family already knew him. There was one time that Mark had got us tickets to go to the circus, and I had never been to the circus. And he was all the time doing these little things, and I was just like, what is the point? I'm not a little kid anymore. Why would I even want to go to the circus? Whenever my brother was going, I was fine with it. Like, yeah, I don't mind going to the circus. I like to see what the circus is about. But my grandmother got mad for whatever reason and told my brother he couldn't go. And, sorry, I got sun today, and it is bothering me. But, she told him he couldn't go. That I would have to go, that I would be the only one to go and have fun. And I did not want to go. Not if I was going to have to go by myself. I'm glad I was forced to go with him, because if not, I probably would have always feared him. I was all the time trying to keep as much distance between me and him as possible. If, like, you know how kids fight over who's going to sit up front? I never fought over who was going to sit up front, because I was scared that if I did, it would open up a door to something. I felt like the reason why my dad did the things to me that he did was because I enticed him in some way. I wasn't sure what the enticement was, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't do that again with someone else, especially someone that everyone else seems to like so great. So I ended up going to the circus. I was very quiet. I didn't really know what to expect. I was scared. I was so scared. Whenever we got there, after a little bit, like, I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And I was just thinking, oh my God, as soon as I go to the bathroom, he's going to want to go. Because, I think I was like 10, maybe. I might have been 11. But still to the point where whenever I said I was going to the restroom, somebody was going to go stand outside the door or go in there with me. So I was very scared about how that was going to look. And eventually it just got to the point where I couldn't hold it anymore. And I was just like, I'm going to have to go to the restroom. So I just got up and went. And the whole time, like, I was just walking really, really fast. And I was thinking, please don't follow me. Please don't follow me. Please don't follow me. And I got about halfway there, a good enough distance, and I noticed that he was still sitting there watching the circus. And I was just like, okay, this is good. So I was on the border of a panic attack, walking away as fast as I could. And by the time I got to the restroom, I had calmed down a lot. And then whenever I was using the restroom, I was thinking, oh, what happens if I open up the door and he's standing right out there and he just pushes me in here? And all these kind of crazy scenarios are going through my mind of what could possibly happen, and it makes me not want to come out of the restroom. And then I was thinking, there's too many people around for him to do something like that. Like my dad, it wasn't even that ballsy to do something like that in public like this. And I was just like, I just need to walk out. And whenever I walked out, he wasn't over there. He wasn't waiting, and I had to walk back to the seat because that's where he was still at. So that that was like a kind of a turning point in my life with him, and understand that I don't have to fear everyone. I can trust some people. Um, I was okay with Mark being my brother's dad, but I felt like he would never be mine. I had a dad and I put him in prison. Um, Dad was a bad name to me, and only one man could fill those shoes. So to this day, I've never called him dad. He is the closest thing to a dad I've ever had. Like an actual dad, what a dad would be. But the name dad is still something else in my mind. Let me see where I got to. When, oh no. When I was in the sixth grade, I would sit at this particular table and eat breakfast. There was a girl there. She didn't seem like the type for drama. And I didn't even know that her mom worked with my aunt. Like, I had no clue. But she was just somebody that I would confide in from time to time. And I don't know what I looked like to her, but she just looked like somebody I could talk to me. So, uh, I would tell her stuff that my dad had done, and then stuff that was going on with my grandmother, and the stuff that mainly, like, that was going on with my brother and my grandmother. She had gone to my elementary school, so she was very familiar with the talk about my dad and what had happened. Everybody in the school knew it. So by the end of the talk, one morning at breakfast, I told her there was three reasons why, but there was three differences between living with my dad and my grandmother. And I told her that there was no sexual abuse, there was no guns, and I wasn't the target like I was with my dad. She went home that day and told her mom what we had been talking about. Then her mom told my aunt, which is my mom's second oldest daughter. So my aunt came over and to my grandmother's house. I'm pretty sure she was there whenever I got off the bus. She said that she was gonna say her piece and then leave. We were gonna sit there until she was done. She said that she better never have to come back over and have a talk like this again with anyone. So I'd never seen her mad until this point. This scolding that went on took 2 hours, easy. Um, Basically, we weren't. I didn't even ask to go to the restroom. There was like no point. You couldn't get a word in. Anytime you tried to say anything, she would cut you off and continue. So she said basically that her mother was too old to go to prison and that she would be damned if she let me and my brother be the ones to put her there. That she knew that I had went to school and lied about her, and she told me she had eyes everywhere and there wasn't anything I could do without her finding out. Somehow the story was told differently back to me. I was really shocked at how this could happen. I think I was 12 at this time. I was in the sixth grade. So, yeah, I was 12. So, I hadn't really understood how drama worked yet, or how people repeated things back differently, or how people remember things differently. So, why this story would be told back to me all kinds of different, it was basically the same story, but things were out of place. So I didn't understand how that could be possible. Um, I knew that I wasn't lying about what I had told the friend. My aunt claimed that I told her my grandmother had a gun and was threatening us with it. My grandmother didn't own a gun. So this couldn't have been true. I explained the whole conversation. She said I was lying and wouldn't listen. She didn't care to hear the truth. She believed what her coworker told her. I thought this aunt would understand since she was the one that was aimed the highest to show it. Like she was the one that went overboard with the affection towards my brother. She made almost tried to make sure that she overcompensated for my grandmother's cruelness to him. So I really thought that it would be her that would be more understanding and maybe someone else that would act the way that she was acting at that point. I really didn't understand what was going on. Um, I thought that she would have been proud of me for taking up for my brother since she seemed to love him so much more than she did me. I couldn't figure out why she was mad at me. She told me the girl was coming over the next day and that she was going to tell my grandmother everything that I had told her at school. She said that the truth was coming out whether I liked it or not. She told me she would expose me for the liar that I was. I was told that I wasn't saved from my dad by my family. Hold on. Oh, she told me that that I wasn't saved by them from my dad because they had no clue what was going on. They all claimed that if they had knew how bad it was, that they would have came to our rescue. I was letting them know what was going on with my grandmother. I was telling them that my grandmother was, acting like my dad, that she was sick like my dad, but I was being punished instead of rescued. I felt like everyone was against me at this point. I was completely done. I didn't see the point in talking to anyone. Uh, I wasn't really mad at the friend because I thought maybe she had told her mom, and maybe because I didn't know her as a liar. I thought maybe that the mom misunderstood what she said, and whenever she took it to my aunt, it got blowed up. So my uncle later came over, one of my uncles, and he took us to the bedroom and he spoke with us very privately. He was a very soft spoken man, he still is. He asked me specific questions about my talks with my friend. I told him what I had said to her concerning my grandmother. I told him how angry my aunt was with me for telling anyone her mother was anything but good to us. Um, I told him how the story was all mixed up and that she didn't care to listen, and that anytime I tried to tell her, she called me a liar. I told him that I didn't feel like my grandmother was being good to us. I told him that she was mean. He didn't scream at me. He didn't try to punish me. He didn't blame me for anything. He told us he loved us. That it would all get straightened out, and he gave us a hug. And then he left. I seen the girl the next day at school, and I sat down at the same table with her as I had for every morning for over 6 months. And I was excited despite the drama that had occurred, that I was going to be able to, that a friend was coming over. I had not had anyone come over since kindergarten. I had a best friend in kindergarten, and my dad, we would play. Her name was Nicole, and she lived right down the street from me. I was hoping that the friend from middle school would be able to stay long enough to do stuff. I had talked about music, jumping on the trampoline, and riding bikes. When I told her about my plans and asked what she thought about them, she acted kind of weird. Like she didn't really want to talk to me. I mentioned other less fun stuff that I had at my disposal, And I noticed that when I would speak, she would look at the other girls beside her and kind of make faces and roll her eyes. And after she did that a couple of like the first couple of times I seen her do it, I was just like, okay, like I noticed it, but I tried not to think anything of it. After she did it a few times, and I just stopped talking. Um, she got up from the table and left with the girls. She didn't say bye like she usually did. I felt like maybe she was embarrassed to let anyone know that she was going to be hanging out with me after school. These were the same girls that had sat there at this table this whole time. There was like two new ones, but the majority of the people at the table were the same people, so I really didn't understand what was going on. Um, I thought to myself, maybe I'm a misfit. Maybe I'm the one that people make fun of, and I don't know it. I saw her in the hallway walking with another girl, and I thought now might be a better time to talk with her. And so I thought saying it this way would be, or trying to say it a different way wouldn't be as embarrassing from her or for her. So I told her that I was looking forward to after school. And she she goes, "Ugh," and just like almost starts to cry. And I thought by saying it that way, I would let her know, hey, like I'm actually anticipating this. I think it's going to be fun. But I didn't want to be like, if people were making fun of me and she would be made fun of for talking to me or whatever, there was other people that talked to me, but, and other people that I hung out with, but I thought maybe if I said it to her that way, then it would be, I don't know, kind of like a code without her being made fun of or whatever by her little group of friends. So that's really whenever I noticed things weren't like I was thinking. Um, the girl that was walking with her asked her if she was okay. She whispered something back to the girl, and the girl looked at me with a very angry face. Then they quickly left. I'm pretty sure they went to the restroom. They were headed towards the way of the restroom. The rest of the day, I tried to figure out why she was acting the way she did. I wondered if she just didn't want to be my friend anymore. I thought about what my aunt said that, sorry. I thought maybe she had purposely lied to her mom about the conversation, and I couldn't figure out why she would do that. Maybe now she felt bad about it instead of the story just getting mixed up like I thought before. While I was on the bus, I told myself I would forgive her, um, even if she did lie about the conversation, so she didn't get in trouble with her mom. She was the only friend like that I had really talked to about private stuff at that time, and I didn't want to lose the only friend that I had over what my grandmother knew was true, regardless of what anyone said. I learned that from my dad. It doesn't matter what someone believes is the truth, it doesn't change anything. So I really didn't care much about what my grandmother thought or what my aunt thought. When I got off the bus, my aunt came over again for another lengthy scolding. She accused me of harassing the girl all day long. She said that the girl went home crying because of all I had put her through at school. That she was terrified of me because of the way I treated her at school. Her mom was no longer putting her daughter through the torture of confronting me about my lies. My aunt asked if I was happy now. She said I couldn't face up to being proven wrong and lying about her mother. My aunt told me that I had told the girl that what she was going to say when she got to my grandmother's house if she didn't do as I said, I would hurt her, how we were friends, and afterwards we were going to play together just like friends do. She claimed that I had started bullying her at breakfast and didn't stop until school let out. I tried to tell my aunt that about the things that had happened that day, Oh, wow. Once again, she didn't care about what I had to say. The girl wouldn't lie. She had no reason to lie. She was a good girl from a good home. She said, "You're lying because you're the only one with a reason to lie. Don't you understand?" I didn't understand. I didn't understand any of it. My aunt told me that this was not how to make friends. She told me I would never look the girl's way again, that I would leave her alone, and that if she found out otherwise, that she would do to me what my dad had never done. I'm sorry. That was not what she said. She said, "If I find out otherwise, so help me God, what I'll do to you." Scratch that. I'm so sorry. I was looking at that. I was like, crap, that wasn't right. um, After this happened, I felt like I had no friends. I couldn't trust anyone. That given the chance, if I had, I would always be made out to be the bad person. I tried to see things the way my aunt claimed to be true, but I couldn't. Why would the girl act like that towards me and lie on me so bad? I never tried to make her my friend. She was the one who sat beside me and wanted to be my friend in the beginning. So I'm going to leave off here because we're at 26 and a half minutes. I didn't realize it was getting that lengthy. Um, Hope y'all enjoyed it. If this is speaking to anyone, please like, comment, so that it can get shared and hopefully reach more people. We haven't really gotten to the good stuff yet. I'm still a little girl and I'm still very troubled, but if you're going through things like this, this is just a drop in the ocean. This is nothing. Yes, it did affect me. Yes, it did hurt me, but it didn't kill me. I'm still here and I have accomplished so many things since then. So if you're going through similar things like this where you feel like the world is against you, it's you against yourself. And I didn't realize it at that time, but as we go on, you'll start to see how I start breaking free from my own mental cage and start realizing things. So, hope y'all have a great day. See you next time.